Agatha, episode 3, the one that seems remarkably self-aware.
Don't be such a bummer.
This is the episode that really knows its customer base. Depressed, lonely people.
It's giving middle-aged, second chance at love vibes.
Who, rather than realizing they're the problem, get through life in one way.
Wine!
If there's anything this episode does, it is bait the audience with a promise of a good time.
I do not want to die here! This is not where I die!
Only to disappoint you right at the end.
We're alive. We made it through the first test. Everyone is safe.
But as the writers of this show seem to hate their own target demographic and as such, just take the piss out of them throughout the episode,
I look like one of my customers.
it does lead to some enjoyable moments. Even if they can't quite top Murdania.
Get your hands off me! No!
Come, my lord.
We start on the blue brick road. Entirely different.
It's exactly how I pictured it.
Dark, dank, and full of insufferable people. It's like visiting a modern art museum in Birmingham.
This is a kidnapping!
Okay, firstly, she went down there voluntarily. Secondly, who wants to kidnap a 73-year-old woman? Seriously. What are they gonna get out of you? Your homemade recipes? Facelift advice?
Unless, is this like perpetual night as a vibe?
Is it just a vibe, darling? I tell you what, at least in Rings of Power there's people to ship. What am I supposed to do with that? Is it like a vibe? Is it meant to set the tension so my feelings go all fluttery? Oh.
I am a member of the Westview Historical Society.
Is that because you're the main exhibit? They were like, you're as old as dirt, you should lead us. And she's not a witch though, she's like, well, why isn't there a train station down here? Why is there an underground in the underground?
Anyone can
That
be a
is what
witch
I
with
have been
proper
trying
training.
to tell you.
Now do you see where Star Wars got it from? Anyone can use the Force if they're properly trained. It's from the same kind of people. The Force had to be inclusive because we're taking on the same ideas as the witches, who also believe in astrology. These witches are especially powerful, where once a month they all get together and realize what's happened to their anus. Sorry, Uranus.
Put the rest of us in even more danger, and we don't even know what we're up against.
I'm sure it's not that dangerous, love. Plenty of people have been around. But she's looked around, seen everyone, and you're all thick as pigs. We're in danger.
Tame your fears. That's what we're up against. Our worst nightmares.
Which for me is watching Agatha. Agatha tells them, though, they go through trials which test their ability as witches, which is particularly dangerous for this group considering they're all incompetent, which is why they got hired in the first place.
There's always analog magic. Labor-intensive, manual acts of magic.
If there's anyone proficient with manual labor, that guy. I can tell. If you want someone to hoe a field or build some scaffolding, that's your lad right there. He's had a lot of experience with fields.
Witchcraft.
Who are you?
Someone's put a sigil on that boy.
Yeah, it was him, but for some reason, none of them can realize it. That's the quality of which they are. What they've done is turned him into a living mystery box, except in the interviews, Jack Schaefer has already told everybody the mystery. Like they said in Wartime, loose lips sink ships. And the lips in this series are incredibly loose.
Agatha brought a sparkly little mystery with her.
Why would someone want to hide me?
Why would someone want to look at you? That's the question you should be asking.
We can crack him open later.
Firstly, sorry for the pause and the thumbnail. Secondly, there is no way you can crack him open at any time. Don't have the equipment. During their waffling though, Mrs. Hart takes the chance to escape. Let's be honest, no one blames her. Going along this road and getting at the end of it, the thing you desire most, will basically mean that they all turn into men at the end.
Don't touch me!
And they might be able to make a good TV series. This is proven when she sits down, puts her bag down on the tree, which then gets dragged into the floor. Now, my first thought is, she's actually sitting on the same thing, why is she not getting sucked down? But I actually didn't need to worry.
Stop!
As she starts wrestling with the ground for her bag.
Came from Talbot's, you can't have it!
I'll die for this bag. It came from I don't even know what a Talbot is. I'm going to assume it came from a really camp man that looks like he dressed himself in the dark. You can tell I'm a fashion designer because I look like a retard. So her hands get sucked into the ground, and I just thought she was going to try and pull out her hands with her face. Instead, she acts really brave about it.
Where's she?
That right there was the sound of finding out.
Very, very, very bad day. Oh my god!
I've got to be honest, the whining made me wish she had pulled her hands out with her face.
Not the way to go!
Only because it's so slow, I can still hear you talking. They get together, and while it looks like they're giving the Heimlich maneuver or teaching Joe Locke how to do it properly, instead, they just drag her out of the quick mud tree.
All right, here we go.
Squelchy. The lesson out of all of this was don't walk off the road because the forest will eat you. They've just got Joe like, hold me back, hold me back.
Rule number 1, do not step off the road.
I think this is what they call set up and payoff, because this is setting up their IQ, and the payoff later on is that they're retarded.
Look.
What could it be with an expression like that? It's like she's just found a winery. Oh, Lord. I've just seen a 5-litre box in the distance. Give us this day. Daily degeneracy. As it happens, I'm actually not that far off.
Maybe this is the end.
That would be such a bummer.
Look who's talking. I mean, seriously. Maybe this is the end now. I'm enjoying my time with these lovely people. Like, are you allowed to say that?
Sorry.
Sorry, I was watching 90s movies a lot. They immediately house raid. Mrs. Hart, voice of the audience, as always.
It's not exactly the stuff of nightmares.
The road changes.
What could it be with an expression like that? Passion, everybody. This is the part where Agatha is taking the piss out of their target audience. Are you a depressed, middle-aged housewife, but without the wife? Stuffing your face with SSRIs and really love wine? Well, I mean, you probably look like that.
It changed us, too.
We've got to zoom across them all so you can see their new clothes, because that matters or something. Next, they're going to talk about their feelings. That'll be fun.
It's giving middle-aged, second chance at love vibes.
Yes, that's right, isn't it, Carlton? The reason why they need a second chance in love is because they destroyed the first one. I just kept nagging him for years. In the end, he left me for someone who wasn't insufferable. Now I make Marvel TV shows.
I look like one of my customers.
We're literally just insulting the audience. I look like my viewers, those gullible people that buy edible candles. I give second-degree burns to. These are the only people that watch Agatha. I'm not sure why you're taking the piss.
Oh my God! Bury me in that kitchen!
I told you it's the same audience. Also foreshadowing. Not that they actually honor her desires either, so, you know.
What is this, a wedding? Please God, not a baby shower.
As if anyone's gonna get you pregnant. Anything but a baby shower. I don't want to be around young life. Makes me feel old. I realized what my life could have been.
The Witch's Road cordially invites you to the first trial.
And this trial is very difficult for them. It's a challenge that they've never had in their lives before. It's a new experience, one that will test their very limits. But first, they have to solve a riddle to find out what the trial even is.
It's a riddle. My age has value.
Well, it can't be you then.
I'm no fun alone. I mess with your mind. My tricks are well known.
Although some do apply. No, instead, their greatest challenge is...
Wine!
At this point, I just thought they had to resist drinking it. They definitely would have failed. It's the only thing I've got left now. My second chance at love vibes.
Wait, we don't know what's gonna happen if we drink that.
What, you get slightly more fun to be around? Agatha, though, says, well, we obviously have to drink it. These are breadcrumbs. If we don't do it, we're never gonna find the next stage. Like, what if it was to resist it, though? What if it saw all of you and thought there is absolutely no way they can resist this? The case that even though they know wine is a trap and probably poisoned, they still have to shove it in their gob.
Does anybody have a corkscrew?
Hold you.
There's a built-in bar.
And I will help you.
It does seem that by a built-in bar, he just means, like, a cupboard. I suppose when this is your demographic, everything's a bar. We just hide booze everywhere. Not to be confused with my built-in chemist. But then one of the witches comes over to poison the well with Joe.
Watch your back with Agatha. Did you know she traded her own child for the Book of the Damned?
Yes, the creator of this is the creator of WandaVision,
He might be a demon, an agent of Mephisto.
where the audience thought that Mephisto was responsible for all of it, and Jack didn't even know who they were talking about. She literally name-dropped Mephisto to play with the audience, after previously talking about how bitter she was, and how all of the comments about Mephisto felt like personal attacks. I took the fan theories a little personally, and I feel like I've changed since then. So she took steps to prevent a repeat of the fan theory commotion by just dropping it in the show. If I beat you to it, you won't know how thick I am. The brave strategy. Unfortunately, this episode shows it anyway.
That's what happens when you have Agatha Harkness as your mom, right? I doubt she'd even recognize her own son if he showed up at her doorstep.
Is he your son? I mean, you're very subtly suggesting it. Now, we already know from the trailers when they leaked his name as Billy. I don't know who Billy is. Do I have to look up who the sons were in WandaVision? Billy Kaplan and Tommy Shepard. This is a really subtle hint designed to lure you off the track that may work if we hadn't told you his name was Billy. You really need exceptional people to make television, whereas this show strikes me more as we're trying to keep the budget down by exploiting the wage gap. The main problem with that, of course, being that worth way less than 70 cents on the dollar. Now, the main problem is that it doesn't exist. Yes, but should it? That's the question. How about we start with pay per performance and go from there? Now, obviously, if you've got two exes and you surround a table with a bottle of wine, well, only one thing's gonna happen.
Ooh, healthy pour.
Healthy pour. It's because it's got grapes in it. I think this counts as one of my 5 a day. By which they mean 5 bottles.
If you're waiting for a charcuterie, I don't think it's coming.
Or that second chance at love. You're in a kitchen. Make it yourself.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's somebody who's had a lot of practice swallowing. Been doing it her whole life.
I have had a very hard day. Do not judge me.
No one around this table is going to judge you for drinking wine. Problem is, it starts off a 30-minute timer.
2 harbingers of doom?
They don't even know if they need to drink the wine anymore. They're just going to do it for lulz. I think the only reason wine glasses are so big with so little liquid in them is just to make sure they don't spill a drop. Not gonna waste any of this.
Can I have some?
You bet.
Oh, sure, you're one of the girls until it actually involves less alcohol for them. Then everybody's a bigot.
Do we take the girl talk to the sofa?
Do we have to? Can't we jump off a roof now? So everybody, well, nearly everybody, start shoving it in their gob.
Hey.
Oh, please, can you just stay over there? Cheers. I sat away from you deliberately. He points at her tattoo, which is just apparently against curses, in which case you'd think every witch would have it if it worked. And we get the most unrealistic scene out of the entire episode, which is going some, considering this show's about magic. There is no way that she's pouring away wine. This has never happened in the history of the universe for someone of this demographic. If they were holding a glass of wine and a baby's a goner. I've got to drop one off them.
Because she said all the women in our family were cursed.
So what the husband said. They're the real victims here. We find out, though, that this might be heaven after all, as we zoom over to Agatha's glass.
How old were you?
And it starts refilling on its own. If you put Manny Jacinto on the TV in this house, they'd never leave.
I miss your eyeliner, but the hair is cute.
He's not interested in your love. That's the one thing about him you can't mystery box. Even the midwife knew when he popped out doing duck lips.
A witch is really just another name for a bad girl.
I see what you mean now when you said everybody's a witch. But of course, you can't get this many women in a room without somebody getting offended.
That is extremely reductive. We are not a monolith.
Yes, you are. That's literally what consensus socialization is. We just all agree.
And you know, I blame Halloween. Do you see any pointy hats in here?
I'm actually surprised about that.
Any green skin? Any brooms? No, sir.
Notice how she didn't say cats. There's a 50-50 chance one of them's going to pull one out of a handbag at any second.
But I would drink the blood if it would smooth out some of these wrinkles.
Now, I would say that's probably not going to help you, and I think I have evidence for that.
Oh, God.
Welcome to Her Without Frinkle. Now, we do have a puppet show over here called Spitting Image. Literally all I could think about whenever I saw her face. I'm like, this is just the exact, this is the same show.
You are so sweet.
Yeah, I look like a Ferengi. Turns out, though, she's swollen and it's a side effect of the wine.
Is it bad? I think she looks fantastic.
But we're not a monolith. No, we always tell you the truth. We actually don't agree on our consensus in order not to offend people or get judged. That's not what we do, everybody. We promise. Don't we all agree? We all agree, yes, on everything. We're not a monolith.
We've been poisoned.
So you're saying there's an upside? I know, people are saying nothing ever happens in this show, but they're poisoning the cast. The only thing better than this is when they threw Medania off a wall.
What?
Get your hands off me! No!
Come, my lord.
And that's when we hit the Holy Grail, the Holy Trinity, femme-coded TV series. We've already had fashion, drinking wine, and that means the one thing left is...
Let me see.
admiring our own appearance in the mirror. It's all about me.
Oh my god, I have jowls!
That was before she drank the wine.
My face! My formerly perfect face!
Are we sure she wasn't hallucinating before she took the wine?
Honestly, I don't hate it.
That's how you know she's from Los Angeles. It seems to be a time-delayed effect, though, and so Mrs. Hart, being the first to drink, is the first to get all of the symptoms. She's what will tell them what's about to happen to them.
Oh, it's poison share.
I just need to shove more wine in my face. That's how you know I'm having a happy life. Actually, that just gives me an idea. It's not empty, but it does have the lid on. I think that saves it. I'm not guzzling it from a glass the size of my own face. Something that's so big, I need to hold it with 2 hands.
Do you feel a tingling in the back of your throat?
No.
Not since she was in her 20s, that one.
Do you taste mulberries?
Only when he's eaten a lot of fruit the day before.
Hear any ringing or the sound of fairies crying?
No, just this really loud-pitched whining noise that won't go away. That's for about 34 minutes once a week and then eventually finishes.
I love you guys.
I think that's just the wine rather than the curse. Although that would also be a curse. Hence why the husbands are the ones to suffer. With that, though, her face goes back to normal because applying those prosthetics for more than one filming session would be very expensive. The issue is, theirs goes at the same time, rather than on a delay. So we set rules immediately forgot about them, just because it'd be too difficult to film. It going down so quickly, though, means it's only one kind of poison. A lethal poison.
Loss of motor function. Also hallucinations.
And eventually, death.
That was basically me when she said death. Oh, tell me more. Do you go in excruciating agony over a long period of time? This panics Agatha, who tries to get out.
Stop! It's gonna...
Trying to smash the windows. Only succeeds in cracking them.
You can't run from the poison.
She didn't drink the poison. You can't cheat, Agatha.
Why not? I mean, you are. He's not drank any of it either. He's basically along for the ride to laugh as they die. He's just like me for reals.
Why? Who says?
The road.
No, you. Not the... You just made that rule up.
He didn't drink. He's not in the coven.
Then why is he here?
And he's underage.
Not in the UK, he isn't. Why is this different dimension summoned anywhere in the world road subject to American legislation?
Let's shove it down your gut.
You know what?
Again, it's just so unbelievable. How am I supposed to get invested in the story when there's middle-aged women wasting wine? It's just, it would never happen. Also, not a single one of them comments about how that stain will be difficult to get out of the carpet. This is a magic show. I can suspend my disbelief, but there are limits to reality that you have to maintain.
No! Yeah.
Although I did appreciate their mourning for the grapes.
On the upholstery?
We are...
Okay, I may have forgot the line. I didn't know they made the same joke I had. How am I supposed to parody this when it's a parody of themselves? They're literally taking the piss out of their own audience.
But there's no more wine.
So the wine just refills itself again, and it's like, oh, well, look, we can just make as much of this as we want. Just keep shoving it in our faces.
Drink.
Well, who do you think you are? You've got dangly bits. You're not even supposed to be here. You're not a witch. You have to go down Warlock's Road. That one's full of blokes. You'll like that. You'll have way more fun. You can pretend it's Mordor. And he's like, oh, okay then. I'll drink instead.
No!
I'm not actually sure why she's concerned about him at all. I can only assume it's some kind of latent maternal instinct kicking in. And after that, she just, well, does what she does best. Yeah. You're in Hollywood. I'm sure you've swallowed worse.
Oh, it's so cheap.
I saw most of the people in Hollywood. With that, though, Mrs. Hart starts hallucinating about Wanda, who then collapses on the sofa.
It's time to brew an antidote.
This is what happens when you let the actors do their own makeup. Again, I mean, it really is spitting image. So all the women get together and decide we're going to make an antidote, and for that, they go where they're most comfortable. The kitchen.
I need a corpse that's been decaying for at least 30 million years.
She makes oil.
Now I just need a really big cauldron.
The sink. Modern problems require modern solutions. This is why no one can take your witchcraft seriously. Next week, you'll literally be making a sandwich. I feel like the Babylon Bee trying to take the piss out of California. There's no car in the garage for oil, though, but they realise, hang on, there are other products we use which has oil in it. Beauty products. Yes, it's that kind of show. We're just going to go down a list of what Jack Schaefer does in a day. That's this episode. I use face creams. I need 2 different shelves on each side of the room to paint another face on top of my own face. Now, this is all Jen's skincare products, you know the ones, along with the edible candles that smell like her own minge.
But it's all organic, right?
I don't really know what's got to do with anything. Oil is organic. It literally comes from decayed corpses. You don't get much more organic than that.
I know a snake oil salesman when I see one.
Snake oil would also be organic, just so we're all aware.
Try to save Agatha.
What? Look, if we're going to have Tourette's, can we at least say this show is shit? Looking for lavender or something, obviously, between the 2 of them, only one of them is going to know what all the different scents are.
Is that eucalyptus?
You could have guessed which. Come on, it was obvious. Is that pop?
Essential oils.
So he runs off to get the eucalyptus and she starts hallucinating. The issue is this show has no CGI or special effects. Everything is done in real life. And so obviously all of their hallucinations are just people in weird clothes. No, I mean, they're all just people in weird clothes. And this isn't necessarily a problem. Star Trek had lots of this kind of thing, where they would go through to a different dimension or whatever, or meet aliens that would just happen to look like all of their fellow cast members. The main problem comes in that to pull that off, you actually have to like the cast. If they wanted us to like this cast, they needed every episode to come with a free box of wine.
Mom?
Oh, God. My brain deleted everything about these hallucinations, by the way, so this might well turn out to be daddy issues.
Dad issues.
It's questionable choices.
I don't know. Is that what this is as well? I wouldn't be surprised.
An inconvenient woman.
I mean, that's just tautology at its finest, isn't it? The inconvenient there just leads to repetition. And the other one sees a hallucination and decides to follow it. If I see a ghost in my house, I'm walking the other way, just so we're all aware. I have no shame, it's a pissing ghost. I don't want bugs or dead people in my house. That's like the minimum I expect. Just when you think the cast can't get any more stupid.
Mom? Are you really here?
I don't know, love, you drank poison wine that will lead to hallucinations. What do you think? Another thing Star Trek did in these kind of scenarios, the people realized they were in a hallucination. Like, please, come on, catch up, love.
Your grandmother died today.
That this is just their way of giving backstory in the most tedious way possible. If you hadn't gathered it from the clues, her ancestors keep dying throughout the family line as it's their curse. Her grandmother died, now her mum is scared, and when she goes, the witch will be next. Don't fancy yours much, love. Did we really need the skull creature to add into this scene that they're all evil, folks? They're the baddies.
That our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them.
Unless they're orcs, in which case they just want families to live by and just be nice with the world.
Based economy.
Another thing that was only beaten by Modania getting thrown off a wall.
Get your hands off me! No!
Come, my lord.
The hero of Agatha is definitely the Road.
You're nothing.
I don't know what this is. Is it meant to be a fear of silent movie characters or something? Of course, their hallucinations just solve themselves, just like the face swelling did. She was drowning herself and just blaming a bloke for it.
Are we the baddies?
And everyone else just gets discovered by somebody that's not hallucinating yet.
I found the frankincense.
Wait, what? Frankincense? I could have sworn you said eucalyptus earlier.
Is that eucalyptus?
I'm so confused.
I found the frankincense.
These people have short attention spans. You'd think it was the scriptwriters that were drinking all the wine.
What is that?
Now, though, their problem is they're underwater, and Agatha cracked the window that leads to the underwater. Why is this happening? Nobody knows. There is no logic to this. We're just throwing things at them to cause problems. Try and make a running timer show a bit more tense.
Is that salt water?
I'm sorry, did you need to taste it to work out that that was water coming through your window?
Are we underwater right now?
What is this? The magical chain of ever-increasing retard. It's blue, water's coming through, and it tastes like salt water. Is that water? Oh, show's gonna be the end of me.
How long is that gonna hold?
What happens when it breaks?
Can we just throw you out and find out? I mean, come on. What happens when your room floods? I don't know. So they bring Mrs. Hart onto the kitchen table, presumably because they're gonna eat her later. They dump all the ingredients into the sink.
Here.
We just push all of the beauty products in when they're still in their sealed jars. I guess the plastic container is also fine for the magic spell, and it can penetrate the steel jar. I don't know. Underneath the water, though, we get some LEDs. It's so pretty. But they need to boil the water in the sink, and so the only answer is
there a sous vide?
Now, apparently, this is a really important plot point. You know, how to cook steak is, maybe that's just a man's area. I'm not actually sure. But for some reason, they don't know how to cook a steak. And so we get an in-depth description of what a sous vide is.
It's a super fancy cooking tool. Water to a specific temperature so you can cook your meat evenly.
Really fancy. It heats up the water to a temperature. Oh, it's so fancy.
Is that something people know about?
My dad loves his.
Maybe it is a man thing. I don't know. They're like, oh, we're just used to burning everything. I can't cook proper food, but I can make an excellent salad made of wine.
With your dominant hand counterclockwise to the left.
Right.
Everybody knows he's a retard. The combined IQ of these people wouldn't be enough to boil the water in front of them.
Pull a strand of hair out of your head.
Ah, yes. Everyone, pull hair out of your head. Put it into the recipe. Otherwise it won't. Are we forgetting the woman on the table? I think we are. Yeah. We're all horrible, evil people, aren't we? But remember, we're not a monolith. Of course, Agatha starts hallucinating. There's a baby crying. Strangely, this is the only show where a baby crying is less annoying than the main characters talking. Which is pretty amazing considering babies evolved for their crying to be annoying. I guess so did witches. Turns out though that her baby is the Darkhold, what she traded it for. No! Anything but having to read. I've only read Harry Potter. Don't make me do something else. I might read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but anything more complicated than that is beyond me. But they can't get the colour right. They're missing something. And the potion maker is just panicking. We're all gonna die!
I do not want to die here. This is not where I die.
And so Agatha gives her a pep talk, clunge to clunge.
I have always hated you.
I mean, look, it'd work for me. If you hate me, I must be doing something right.
But I left you alone because what you were doing was important.
It's the sisterhood. Yes, I am evil to everyone else, but not the sisterhood.
Can take your power, Jen, but they can't take your knowledge.
Because you don't have any. No, you only have unearned power that you were lifted into without earning it. Wait, hang on, are we just self-reporting in this show? But they realise we need the blood of the unpoisoned. Luckily, he didn't drink any. Firstly, big coincidence. Secondly, I mean, did he know this? Is that what we're going to find out? Because otherwise, it's just a massive coincidence. You're not telling me a 20-year-old Graham Norton fan wouldn't immediately start drinking wine.
Thanks for being underage.
What is this, the BBC? No, it's Disney. Basically the same thing. No wonder they teamed up on Doctor Who. They knew each other from all the message boards anyway. But with that, they all drink the potion. And obviously everything's fine and all people are saved. Oh, there's absolutely no rush. We've done it in plenty of time. There's at least 7 seconds left. Oh, why don't we all just relax and talk to each other about our feelings some more? Oh, isn't this an amazing day? Yes, we've all solved ourselves. Actually, he never needed to do any of this, did he? He didn't even need to be around the table. He must be really evil. Because the time is still going, with 10 seconds left.
Mrs. Hart!
Oh, Mrs. Hart! Yeah, how could we forget about that? Especially the guy who wasn't even poisoned, that could have been looking after her all of this time. So instead, they scoop up the potion.
Take it!
Literally pass it along in the most inefficient way possible. You do have legs, you can move. And they pour it in her mouth. But of course, they didn't even include her in the spell. Yeah, and Teen didn't care about her at all. So Teen has murdered this woman.
Shove it in her mouth!
And to be fair, shoving things in unconscious people's mouths, absolutely huge in Hollywood. It's a shame Diddy was arrested, actually, because he would love this show.
Did it work?
You didn't include her in the spell, and Teen didn't care about her. In a cruel twist of fate, though, they've all got to climb in the oven to escape, and at this point, I was hoping it was a trap. Doing a 3-episode series where all of them burn to death at the end, I would have been gold, I'll tell you.
I am not climbing in an oven.
Instead, as everyone looks at their one calling in life, they get an experience they've been craving for a long time.
She ended up...
They get so wet they are absolutely soaked. Oh no, what's happening to me? As Manager Kinto turned up in the room. So with that, they happily just dive into the oven. I tell you, if Sweeney Todd had it that easy, he'd be a happy man. They argue about whether they should bring Mrs. Hart with her, right up until Teen has a go at them.
We don't know what happens if we leave her behind.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you couldn't even be bothered to remember to put her hair into the spell, so don't pretend you care about her now, you murderous little git. And so, as they all dive into the oven, they come out a water slide at the other end. The best bit, honestly, is them just smacking into each other at the bottom. I would like to be there when they go, okay, so why did Agatha cost this much money? Well, did spend $2 million on a water slide. I'm just saying. It's got to be a new experience for Joe, hasn't it? Being around people with XX chromosomes who are that wet. That was a good one, you got to admit. And so, with that, they realise we've done one trial. Next, back on the road.
We're alive. We made it to the first test.
Until they realise not all of them made it through.
Everyone is safe.
Not everyone.
Oh yeah, Joe, you murdered that one, didn't you? I forgot, sorry. Should I call you Billy? Oh, this is why I hate not giving characters names. I have to choose the actors' names rather than the character. Billy. Billy's looking all concerned when he's the one that murdered her because he was the only one not under the effect of a poison. Could have just taken her role, but no!
Sharon's dead.
Yeah, because of you. Not that anyone you're with will care, because they're all evil witches that I'm supposed to be rooting for to not die? Why?
Sharon's dead.
Who's Sharon?
The voice of the audience.
Off with your head!
Agatha is a show that knows its audience. Same people as the cast. It's the same people as the creator. And for some reason, they seem to hate themselves. This entire episode was built around, oh, look at us. We've been turned into our own audience. Oh, they look like our customers, don't they? Don't we look stupid? Oh, should we just drink wine and be depressed together? Oh, aren't we all miserable people? And it just highlights the difference in Marvel shows when you make shows for different groups. One for men, and you have these strong superheroes going out and protecting people, saving the world, saving the universe from evil threats. And then you can have one for demographic of Jack Schaefer, where she gets a load of evil women together to go down a road and try and get power for themselves so they can become even more evil. And for some reason, they expect the audience to just support both groups. The good guys protecting the world from evil, or evil being even more evil. To them, those morals are exactly the same because everything is equal and hierarchy doesn't exist. But to me, I want the road to win. And so the only person out of all of them that wasn't evil is the one they killed. The morals of this show are horrific. And yet, for some reason, that seems to keep happening. It's almost like the most important decision you can make for a TV series is who makes it, and their values must align with the values of the audience. Otherwise, you end up with this, a load of evil people drinking wine that makes you disappointed at the end when they survive to the next episode. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.